Hey, welcome back to the channel, everyone. Today we'll be talking about your monthly freedom number and how to start living life on your terms. I'm Steve McFarlane, author of Breaking Free from the 401k Trap. So if you ever wondered why, you work hard, you save diligently, yet you still feel trapped financially, today's message is for you. In today's broadcast, we're going to talk about the most powerful tool you could ever develop for your financial life, your monthly freedom number, and the concrete steps you could take to move toward it starting right now. This isn't theory. This is about designing a life that serves you, not your job, not your 401k, but your purpose. So why net worth is not enough. Once you cross the seven-figure net worth, you think things are fine. Things will be all good. However, if it's not based in cash flowing assets, you become, like me, asset rich, but arguably, comparatively, from cash perspective, not as rich. Have most of your money tied up in 401ks, home equity, investments that you couldn't or shouldn't touch. Then you realize, hey, net worth doesn't equal freedom. Cash flow does. Freedom isn't how much you have on paper. And one thing that we need to refocus is not on continue to collect paper statements, but collect monthly cash flow. So by doing so, a way to help us to refocus on that particular topic is by focusing on our monthly freedom number. So let's talk about how to calculate our monthly freedom number. Previously, in the last broadcast, we talked about looking at our expenses, right, to understand what our total cash flow should be. But let's go a little further here. Let's talk about the monthly freedom number, and it could have been something we calculate for weekly, quarterly, annually. But hey, I want to look at monthly, right? So from the monthly perspective, look at your after-tax monthly living expenses, such as housing, utilities, insurance, food, transportation, giving, even vacations. Get all of that together. And now here's the additional step that we're going to take. We're going to add a 20% safety margin. This 20% safety margin arguably covers things like unexpected repairs, inflation, and other things that may just show up without us being able to plan for it, be ready for it. So that 20% then goes into the calculation by taking your monthly expenses and multiplying them by 1.2. For example, if the total expenses that you calculated were $6,000 a month, multiplying by 1.2, you come up with $7,200 per month. So your $7,200 per month is now your monthly freedom number. And that's how much income that you need to obtain from either passive or semi-passive sources of money to be free from living the paycheck to paycheck cycle. The next thing we're going to calculate is something I like to call the freedom meter, which is your cash flow coverage ratio. So this is also a pretty elementary type thing that we could look to calculate together. So your cash flow coverage ratio is really just your passive monthly income divided by your monthly freedom number. So if it's 1.0 or higher, then congratulations, you're doing great. Your lifestyle's fully covered. If it's below 1.0, hey, not to worry. Just understand that there's room for improvement, and you could look to raise that number, and you're on your way to financial freedom. For example, if you earn $2,400 a month in passive income, and your monthly freedom number is $7,200, you take the 2,400 divided by 7,200, you get 0.33. Your cash flow coverage ratio is 0.33. That means you've achieved about a third of your freedom goal. The real beauty is, hey, this is something you can continue to work on, you can grow over time. The mindset shift that we're getting at here is to really start focusing on accumulating monthly cash flow as opposed to paper statements that say, hey, this is your net worth. The truly free focus on cash flow. They don't just ask, how much do I have? They ask, how much is paying me every day, every week, every month, every year, while I'm asleep, whether I'm working, whether I'm not working? That's the mental pivot from traditional thinking to the cash flow strategy I'm talking about here, and I'm talking about as well in my book, Breaking Free from the 401k Trap. It's really about, hey, designing your own path instead of falling into what is considered the standard or the norm, which, whatever that means, I know that is what's normal. So now, once you know your freedom number, hey, it's time to take intentional action. Here are 4 practical steps that you could do, starting today. Start tracking your expenses. You can't manage what you don't measure. Get clear on where every dollar is going. Awareness creates control. And also start a freedom account. Create a separate account for building or buying cash flow producing assets. Treat it like a mission fund for your future. So look to continue acquiring income producing assets. That might be dividend paying stocks, developing a side business, ideally one with the potential of eventually transitioning to running on its own without your involvement, or creative ventures, books, digital courses, intellectual property, and also real estate. Real estate's the big one, a rental property. Look for something that nets you several $100s a month or higher. And then the final step is reinvest the returns. Don't consume your cash flow too early. Continue to allow it to grow so you have that flywheel effect of financial freedom. Keep feeding it and adding to it. There's the old farming analogy. You don't want to consume your seeds, right? You want to be able to keep planting those seeds so they continue to bring a harvest and produce for you and your family into the future. Remember, each new stream brings you closer to covering that monthly freedom number completely. And the Bible says in Proverbs chapter 21, verse 5, the plans of the diligent lead to profit, as surely as haste leads to poverty. That's what it's about. Planning, being diligent, stewarding wisely, and freeing yourself to live on purpose. So this isn't just a financial exercise. It's a spiritual one. Because when you've achieved your monthly freedom number, you have the freedom to serve, to give, to create, to impact. And just think if one day you get to the point where, hey, you're still collecting a W-2 and you're still, getting that 1099 of the various business ventures that you have, and you've achieved your monthly freedom number. What can you do with that W-2? You can do so much with it. You can donate it. You can give it away to charities, to local people in need. It's an amazing way to live, and that should be the ideal. And that's why cash flow matters. It's not about greed. It's about building that personal capacity to continue to give and support others. So here's your assignment. If you didn't do it during the video, go ahead and make sure you calculate your monthly freedom number, compute your cash flow coverage ratio, and take one concrete step this month to increase your passive income. If you found this video helpful, like, share, subscribe, and grab a copy of my book that has all these details and more, Breaking Free from 401k Trap. It's your roadmap to designing a life of true financial freedom. Cash flow is freedom. Live life on your terms.